The holidays can be a difficult time, especially if you have mental health issues. My name is Dr. Erica Steele. I'm a board certified naturopathic doctor. I hold 6 degrees in my field and all in the natural healthcare space. So all this month we have holiday deals coming up. And so we have packages available for clinical hypnotherapy, for 3 months of care, even healthy holiday meals, and all of my courses are also off. So please check the link in my bio and take a look at that. So, all right. Now, if you struggle with mental health already, extra stress is like gasoline on the fire. And so what I mean by that is if you don't have the skills, the strategies, the tools, the techniques, added stress, such as maybe, let's say, family interaction with family members that, you don't necessarily want to spend time with or you're triggered by, that can be fuel on the fire. Also, too, financial obligations. Let's say you're already struggling financially, and now there's this big pressure to, produce, holidays for your family. That can add another level of mental health stress into the equation. Or simply just all of the eating and the parties. And let's say you struggle with addiction already. And so now you're being invited to all of these holiday parties are loaded with alcohol and sugar and all the things, right? So there are definitely a lot of kind of landmines during this period of time. And so it's important to make sure that we find your center. So how do we do that? How do we find our center in the midst of all the insanity? First things first is we want to make a commitment and decide within ourselves that our mental health is the number one top priority. And so a lot of times if we have had, let's say, a narcissistic family system, or we've had trauma in our upbringing, or even in our adulthood, we get into these people-pleasing tendencies. We get into these tendencies where we self-abandon and we're always giving and giving and giving and giving and giving, and we're betraying ourselves. And so that's where a lot of anger comes up, resentment, hostility, passive aggressiveness, because those are boundary violations. However, we're the ones that are violating the boundaries with ourselves, even if we're not aware of the boundaries, because naturally, if you come from these systems or come from these, traumatic experiences, you were really taught not to have boundaries. And that was all strategic. And so having to reclaim yourself and beginning to go, oh, wait a second. My nervous system, which is really what that anger response is, my nervous system is telling me there needs to be a boundary in place and I need to set that. And so listening to your body and listening to your cues. Now, let's say you're more emotionally shut down. You're not as reactive. So that's more for my reactive folks. Let's say you're more shut down and you're just kind of existing. You're kind of lethargic. Your practice is going to be more sitting and being with your emotions and being with your body and really feeling what that means. So some of the techniques and tools we use for that are emotional freedom technique with tapping. So we're moving through our meridian system and we're getting that chi moving so that our stagnant emotions are actually able to process. Or we look at acupressure for emotional healing, which is an excellent resource as well, to be able to, again, really connect with our mental health and our emotional health, but more importantly, all those emotions that are trapped in our body. Because when we have suppressed and compartmentalized for so long, we tend to disconnect and don't necessarily have the ability to access those emotions. So those are definitely some of the techniques and tools that we can use. But I really want to stress, we want to make sure that we are staying true to ourselves. And so if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. We want our yeses to be our yeses and our nos to be our nos, especially during this holiday season. So practically, what does that look like? If I'm invited to a party and I know that's going to be a trigger, that's going to be a no. If a family member wants me to come over and I don't feel comfortable with that family member or another one that's going to be there, my answer is no. Or let's say there's all these different foods around and I know that they're going to make me sick. My answer, again, is a no. So say your no proudly. No is a complete sentence. You don't have to explain yourself. I know it can be tempting. I'm guilty of it as well. And so as we reclaim ourselves and we reclaim our boundaries, the holidays are an amazing time for us to practice. So again, if you like my content, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you're interested in working with me, working with my practice, or checking out any of the amazing things that I offer, go ahead and click the links down below.